Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to season 3, episode 3. My name is Robert, and with me is Matt, Greg, and Nate.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. In this episode, we're going to be talking about St. Louis.
Good old St. Louis.
STL
Home
show.
sweet home.
Yes. No place like St. Louis.
I don't think so.
Matt, why don't you kick it off, man?
All right. Well, I mean, God, there's so many things to say. I mean, well, okay, hold on. Because I actually have something for you guys.
Okay.
And we could save it until we're off mic. We don't want to, like, accidentally trigger some ASMR.
Oh, we got some
here.
St. Louis goods.
Some St. Louis snacks. Hey, I brought some red hot Riplets.
Oh, yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are my freaking favorite.
So,
They're the best.
yeah, like I said, we'll wait. Yeah, best around. And some, of course, oh, God, it's stuck in the bag. Some gooey butter cake.
Oh,
yeah,
there
I
it
got
is.
some of those. So.
Yeah.
Some good old. So anybody who's watching or listening and is not familiar with the St. Louis area, like anywhere else, we have our things that originated here. Those are just two of them. Another one's Anheuser-Busch Brewery. So we're drinking on some buds.
It's hard,
Or
though,
Beer City.
as a true St. Louis and to back Budweiser, in my opinion, since they sold out to InBev.
To InBev.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
still got the brewery.
We
Right
still
over
do.
there.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but there was something about it being,
Yeah, that kind of
they're not really
pinched a
owned
little
by
bit of the
somebody
ego
here in
there.
St. Louis.
right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I actually have some sodas here too. If you guys want any, I got some Fitz's root beer and orange pop, and some Vess. I got some Vess creams.
Better have some Vess up in there.
Yeah, and it's cream soda. It's the pink, the Vess pink cream soda.
Wow.
So, you want one of those?
I'm good for it right
Okay.
now. Thank you, though. Yeah.
I'm gonna open one of these. Yeah, the Fitz's orange soda. That's what I'm gonna go with right there. I just lost a cube. But yeah, I mean, there's more than just that. But I mean, that's a good way, I guess, to start it off. It's just with all the different, food items.
I was going to say, we're really a good food city.
It really
here
is.
in St. Louis.
Absolutely. I mean,
Really is.
we've got a huge variety too.
Yeah.
Pretty much any type of food
Yeah.
that you would want. We got great barbecue.
Some of the
St.
best.
Louis style barbecue with that kind of sweet and vinegary sauce, and pork steaks are big around here.
Gotta love a
Yeah.
pork steak, man.
I went to Atlanta, Georgia a few years ago with a buddy of mine visiting his daughter, and he brought pork steaks from Kendrick's Meat Market.
Yeah.
And he knew how to cook them. Let me be honest with you, it was the best pork steak I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
But
Haven't had one of mine, but okay.
Okay. Well, it was slow cooked.
Yeah.
It was really
Pork you gotta do low and
good.
slow.
Yeah, and everyone there had never had a pork steak before. They're like never.
Yeah.
And it just that was one of the weird things that I.
See, they call it a different cut in some areas.
Oh, so it's not. So they might have had the cut of meat, but it's just not known as a pork steak.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the St. Louis butcher that created the pork steak, it's I guess technically is still a different cut of the meat, but in other parts of the country you can get I don't know if they call it like a shoulder steak.
Okay. Yeah, because
or
that's what it is.
something.
Shoulder meat, right?
I believe so. A pork, yeah. But to us in St. Louis, it's pork steak,
It's
and
pork
that
steak.
cut originated here.
Make yourself a pork steak sandwich on some white bread, bro.
Yeah.
Nate, you're not from St. Louis, are you?
No, not originally. I moved here twice.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
But
I
you-
think St. Louis is pretty cool.
You've spent a good chunk of your life here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've spent, I think, accumulated about 14 years now.
Okay. Let me ask you this as an outsider. How do you feel about St. Louis style pizza?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
It's
And you're from
it's
the
a
East Coast.
divisive question, man. I want to know.
And there's no wrong answer here. We respect all opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You guys are
Okay.
making a nice soft place to land if I shit on emos or something. And I do appreciate that. You give me that wiggle room to operate.
We can't be friends no
I mean, just
more.
because I'm from Boston East Coast, where it's like crazy good pizza. But
Yeah.
St. Louis got a variety of pizza, which I enjoy.
Right.
They've got you covered from Chicago to East Coast
Right.
to St. Louis specials where you get Provel on it.
Yeah.
I like Provel
cheese.
personally.
I love it. Yeah,
It's like that kind of almost like a queso on the cheese.
And I think that's the thing with St. Louis styles.
good.
You got to love the Provel cheese.
Oh, have you ever been somewhere where they try to make like a St. Louis style pizza and they don't use Provel? They'll use like a Mott's or like a.
I'm just lost
That's
at that point.
not
Yeah.
St. Louis style.
No, it doesn't. I mean, sure, it's good. Like, yeah, it's a good pizza, but if you don't have that Provel cheese on there, that kind of makes it.
And for the most part, you can't go wrong with pizza.
And they got some
that's
varieties
true.
out here too. Like we could just start running some favorite ones here. Like let's start with like clearly we all know about Emos and that
Emos.
special cheese.
Right.
But how
Square
about
Bianca
something
Pear.
like Blackthorn Pub? They've got this amazing
Which is just a few
pizza.
blocks from here, by the way.
Shout out to Blackthorn Pub, just a few blocks
Yeah,
from here.
for real.
Love to have you on the show.
Oh, yeah.
They have a stuffed pizza with this cheese in the crust, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing. And they
Yeah.
bake that pizza for like 45 minutes slow. And oh man, and then pie pizza. You guys ate a pie before? Up
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Del
I
Mar.
haven't.
Yep.
They
I
do
did
a
the
type
pie.
of pizza that's got this. Instead of having like a liquidy sauce, they'll do a sauce that's got like it's almost chunky tomatoes at that
Okay.
point. And they'll put
okay.
toppings on top of that, and they'll
Yeah.
oven roast it. And it's a thicker crust. The crust almost tastes like buttery when you bite into it, and it's got that snap. So St. Louis does real well with pizza, in my opinion.
Well, and
variety.
that's the thing is with pizza for me. Like, I'll go to a big chain. I'll get a Domino's, a Papa
Right.
John's, a Pizza Hut, whatever, if I'm feeling like it. But for the most part, if I'm craving pizza, I'm gonna hit up a local joint.
Right. Right.
Even if it's a local chain, it's still, Emos. They have several,
Yeah,
quite a
they're
few
all over.
locations. Yeah, they're all over the place. But it's still, it's different. You get there's a difference in quality and taste.
Oh, we can't forget about Cecil Whitaker's.
Cecil
either.
Whitaker's,
Oh,
yeah,
yep.
that's a
good.
big one.
That is one. One of my favorites is Alicia's.
Alicia's, that's another
pretty
good. Yeah, absolutely. St. Louis Pizza and Wings makes a good
Yeah.
pizza as well. Yeah, no, it's a staple around here, and of course all the places that we're talking about have toasted ravioli, and that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
must. That's a must. I had a family friend who lived out in I think it was Vegas for years. And when he moved back, first thing he did was went to Emo's. And he got him a big St. Louis style pizza and ordered T-Ravs. And he was like, I've been missing this so much. Those.
Those
Right.
toasted raviolis, man, I think they're an Italian classic or something because surprisingly we have those in Rhode Island. We
Yeah.
got toasted ravioli just like we got out here in St. Louis. Very similar.
Yeah.
Both really good, crunchy, fried,
Dude,
breaded,
it's awesome.
stuff with ricotta or
Yeah.
even some meat in
Ooh,
it sometimes. Yeah, I mean I heard those are a classic in St. Louis. I was like, I remember these and I'm happy to see them again.
Right.
I know it's kind of, they're few and far. It's kind of hard to come by things like that when, in certain areas. One of my best friends is from South Carolina, and she had never had toasted ravioli until recently.
Oh, yep.
So, yeah, it just kind of depends,
Where
man.
have you been all my life.
Right. Oh, it kind of was like that too. Like I introduced her, she was like, "These are so fucking good," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I enjoy, I want to travel the world. I want to learn about other cultures and stuff, and I do read up on things like that. But it's also cool to just I want to explore more of this country and kind of figure out. There's all these other little subcultures within
Mm-hmm.
Right.
the U.S. Every state, every city, every
Right.
region, they all have something different to offer. So it's really cool to me to kind of experience stuff like that.
Nate,
I've been experiencing a culture opening Iowa. I think just looking at St. Louis County lately.
Yeah.
And I look at that and pull it up on the map, and I start to look there's over 80 municipalities in St. Louis County.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just a staggering number.
Right.
It gets to the point where it almost they're almost like the different boroughs of New York City.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
where it's you could tell a lot about the area, the people, where they're from, what, all these different things just by knowing the different, like you said, what municipality. You could say, "Oh, I'm from St. Louis." Okay, but where?
Yeah.
Where in St.
And our
Louis?
question is, high school.
where'd you go?
Where'd you go to high school? That's the big question. I don't know if that's a big thing everywhere.
I mean,
Feels
we've
like
got
that.
some of that as well, but
Yeah.
it seems larger out here. I've been asked that several times.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
always heard
It's-
it was like a St.
Hey,
Louis
nice to
thing.
meet you. What high school did you go to? It's
Yeah.
what
But again,
which
that's
sign
like
do I throw
that
up?
determine
I'm
that
from the
tells
East
me where you came from, where
Exactly.
you grew up, because
Exactly.
like he's saying, every part of the city
Yeah.
has got its own Yeah, culture,
like,
characteristics, and that.
Yeah.
Like,
Ironically, like I live in South County right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm in Oakville. Shout out to Oakville.
yeah,
Okay.
When I was in Rhode
I lived
Island,
Oakville
for a
lived out
while.
there for a minute.
when I was in
I
Rhode
lived there.
Island, I lived in South County.
Yeah.
Totally random.
Yeah.
Just move out here. I'm like, damn it, more things. I lived off Patton Ave. I live off of Patterson right now. Like some of these are just like
What?
funny little
Yeah.
synchronicities, man.
That is,
Right.
Yeah, so I'm in South
Damn.
County. And you guys, you know about South County.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Spent a couple years there.
Just say I lived in Oakville for a while.
Yeah.
That's actually where I went to high school.
Okay, yeah.
So any of our St. Louis people listening and watching, if that question is burning in your mind, I went to Oakville.
With the Webster.
Yeah. Well, you,
Nate,
Greg.
if there's
Where'd you go to high
is there-
school?
Fulton, Missouri.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were out there during that time. High
You,
school.
uh,
life, yeah.
there.
Nate, is there anything like food? We were talking about food here in St.
Mhm.
Louis. Is there anything from Rhode Island that St. Louis doesn't have that you miss?
Is there anything in
Crab.
Rhode Island that St. Louis doesn't have that I miss?
Crap.
An ocean. I mean, the
I
ocean
mean,
is pretty nice.
Maryland
Are you-
crabs.
are you
Like
foodie?
fresh
I
seafood.
gotta
Right.
admit, like eating sushi here is a weird prospect at first. I was like,
Yeah.
"Where's the ocean where
Right.
this fish is coming from, bro?"
We're too
I
far
don't
from
know.
the ocean.
I can't.
to be
That's
fried.
Mississippi River catfish you're getting in that California roll. I don't know if you knew that.
Hey, but I hear a lot of people say we got good sushi places around here too.
I'd agree with that.
I don't know sushi. and
I'd say I
care
know it
for too
okay.
well.
Like I've had it in a lot of places. It is good here.
Yeah.
Like I get over that because you freeze the shit and send it up the river in a day. It's all good. Like
Right.
Joking
It's,
aside,
yeah.
it's quality out here. But also like fresh seafood, like quahogs and stuff. You don't really get out here. Clam
Cool.
cakes.
Yeah,
Clam
a Maryland
chowder.
clam cake. I'm
Yeah.
telling
Lobster
you,
you
man.
could get a lot easier in the east. Yeah, so there's a
What's
lot
it-
of
where was that for-
seafood
quag?
you could get. Oh, quahog?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, it's near Wisquamicut. Over by Narragansett.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
There's a lot of Native American
ju-
names out there.
We
So
just, I think we just picked up like
Well,
it's just a town, or
2,500 East Coast
You know that
viewers.
quahog is in Family Guy.
Rhode Island.
oh, cool. Get out. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where Family Guy is.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that a real town?
There's a place called Point Judith in Rhode Island. That's basically quahog. Quahog is
Okay.
something made up in Family Guy, but
But
it's
dude, that went
all
right over my
based
head.
on-
Well,
it's all based on
That's where they're
those
from, is
places, Point
Quahog,
Judith.
Rhode Island.
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm like,
it is. That's what he's talking about.
Well, that dude went to school out in Providence, which is northern Rhode Island, and he made
McFarland?
that whole story. McFarland, yeah, he made that about Rhode Island basically. So a lot of the places he references, like Jameswood High School and stuff, they're references like actual places, but he's tweaked them slightly.
Yeah.
And so if you want like excellent clam cakes, excellent chowder, you can go out to Point Judith, which is basically quahog, and you can get some like really good fresh stuff. So some of that fresh stuff, I miss some of that.
That's kind of like, Rob, I was just talking about, because I was out in Colorado like maybe about a month ago, and I was hanging out like in like Littleton, and it's right outside of Denver, and that is where Trey Parker and Matt Stone are from, and they
Yeah.
based South Park off of Littleton. So it's kind of like that, where
Yeah.
Littleton, Colorado is the real life South Park.
We were talking at work, like it'd be fun to do like even just a world tour, even just like a U.S. tour would be cool, but like food tour. And like
Yeah.
go to
dude.
go to the Northeast and get some lobster and crab.
Oh,
and
a
that, go
lobster
down.
roll in Maine.
Yeah, go down to
Yeah.
like Florida and get some like fresh ocean mahi or something.
Yeah.
Sign me up. That sounds amazing.
Go
Well-
to Texas, get a nice beef steak.
There's a
Wisconsin to get some cheese.
couple of STL food items that I think don't get enough love. One's a slinger.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
my god, I love the slinger.
Yeah, you gotta love a slinger,
that's
especially
a regional favorite, man.
especially when you're hungover.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
Courtesy Diner, baby.
dude, Courtesy Diner, Eat Right as well.
Eat
Though I
Right,
don't know
yeah.
if any of those are around
Yeah.
anymore. For people who don't know, a slinger is essentially it was eggs, hash brown,
Hmm
a
Some-
beef patty
Sometimes I have
usually,
a beef
like
patty,
a beef patty or sausage patty,
Sausage,
something like
eggs,
that.
chili,
A little bit of
and then
hotness.
topped with chili. Yeah.
and cheese.
So good. It's
And
brought me back to
onions.
life a
Yeah.
few times.
Oh, dude,
Mm.
it's just those are amazing. And the other one, probably my favorite, dude, is a St. Paul sandwich.
Okay, I haven't tried
I've
that
never
yet.
had one.
You never had a St. Paul sandwich?
That's my favorite.
Oh my god, dude, yeah,
I get
Rob's
it every time.
Rob's
Every
with
time.
it.
And that's another thing. So we're talking about stuff that like we grew up with.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't until my like good 20s, 30s that I started finding out that toasted raviolis are only a thing in
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Well, they've spread, but yeah.
But I did not know that was a St. Louis thing.
When you
Because
grow up
when
with
you
that
grow up,
stuff.
they were always there.
Right.
That's fair.
Okay.
I didn't know that about St. Paul
Pork
sandwich.
steaks. I've known
Right.
that that was like the first one that I known
St.
about.
Paul?
That it was St. Paul. Mm-hmm.
My dad always ordered them. Okay, essentially what it is, you get them at Chinese restaurants, like Americanized Chinese places. And what it is, it's a sandwich, obviously. It's white bread. It's an egg foo young patty.
Correct.
So, and you can get, whatever kind of protein you want in it, like it's mixed into the egg foo young patty, topped with pickles, lettuce, onion, and mayo.
Yeah.
And they're fucking
They're
delicious,
so fire.
dude. I want.
What do you get? I get the special.
I go shrimp.
So I get everything.
I go shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice. It's a little lighter, You get. I feel like I get enough protein with the egg and everything, It's
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
They say St. Louis is known for the fried rice too.
Yeah.
And
We have a very specific style of like Americanized Chinese food here.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
I love me
No,
some
that's-
Chinese food though.
You
get some good fried rice. I know. I guess I know where I'm stopping on my way
I know,
home.
right? That's for dinner tonight for sure.
So, Nate, I got to ask you one more question. Do St. Louisans do anything differently or maybe weird compared to like some people out on the East Coast?
Yeah, anything like point out.
I mean, there's a lot of differences, honestly. There's a lot of funny little things, too. I guess you could talk about, like, the way we pronounce things and what words we choose to use.
Yeah.
Like, when I first moved here, my East Coast accent was a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Like, it's changed over time to adapt to the local culture, I guess, just
That'll
from hanging out
happen.
with my friends and stuff. Like, for example, anything that's pronounced like French in pronunciation is like
we
Englishified here in St.
Oh,
Louis.
Yeah.
very much
Grab
so.
away.
There's no Chateau
It's like-
Street. No.
No.
That shit's Shoto.
I actually just saw a video of this guy. I think it was on Instagram, and he's like a French teacher, and it was like
Yeah.
I saw that too.
being
Yeah.
a French teacher in St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
and he's putting all those words, gravois. He's like gravois, and all the kids are like, it's gravois.
De Pere.
Yeah.
It's gravois. Yeah, de pere. They're like, it's de pear.
Yeah.
De pear. They're all like, all the kids are yelling at him, like, and it was pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
like
that
a
was a good
French-founded city.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
like,
we don't
nah.
pronounce anything correctly.
It's like Creve Coeurs.
I think that was another one that was in the video. They're like, it's Creve Core, like just yelling at. They're like kind of berating this poor man. It was funny.
Right.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. Was like, no, you pronounce it like Middle English here, and so there was a lot of adapting around that, and then just little words of stuff. Like I could wind you up for a few. Let's see if you'll bite on some of these, for example.
Okay.
All right, so let's say you're gonna get some ice cream, and you've got this ice cream, and you're gonna sprinkle something on top of this ice cream that comes in little colored sugar pellets. What do you call that stuff that you sprinkle on the ice cream?
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
That shit's called Jimmy's, boys. That's Jimmy's.
I have heard
East
that. I've heard
Coast.
that.
You sprinkle the sprinkles.
Them
on top.
sprinkles, bro.
He sprinkled Jimmy's. Sprinkles.
Real quick.
So you guys, those are Jimmy's. So
Yeah, we know what you're talking
Jimmy's.
about, sprinkles, but 9 out of 10 people are gonna say Jimmy's.
Jimmy's.
Southeast Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jimmy's. That's one. And how about another one? Like when you go into if you go into like a building and they've got those dispensers on the wall that give you water if you press in a button. What are those things called?
Water fountains.
Those are bubblers.
Bubblers. What?
I saw it go
I
into
think
people.
I
I'm like
knew
up at
that.
Costco. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, where's the bubbler? And she's like, the fuck you say to me?
Right.
The water fountain. Oh yes, right this way.
You can
So-
buy a bubbler at Sunshine
Sunshine Daydream. Right. That's what popped into my
That's
head.
where you get your bubblers.
You ever see that video of Emma Watson when she was talking about completing her school, like her schooling and stuff in the United States, and in the UK they call erasers, like a pencil eraser, they just call them rubbers.
Oh yeah.
And so she was like, I was in the middle of class and asked everyone very loudly, does anybody have a rubber I can use?
Yeah.
And everybody's
Right.
like, what?
Oh man, yeah. Didn't she go to Brown? I think she was right
Yeah,
from
something like
Providence.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be funny.
So that's hilarious. Yeah, you mentioned ice cream, and that kind of made me think we didn't really touch on frozen custard.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on
concrete,
Ted Drew's.
Ted Drew's, yeah.
Ted Drew's is
not
apparently
unique.
a national
Yeah.
like landmark.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't
yeah.
have that in Rhode Island. I can tell you that.
Frozen custard
Well,
concretes,
It's got
baby.
something to do with the old Route
That's good.
66.
Yeah.
Right.
and that's
Yeah, it
how
runs right
Chippewa
through it.
one.
Yep.
Well, we know the ice cream cone was invented here. It's a 1904
World's Fair. Yeah.
And then wasn't the hot dog?
Okay.
They ran out.
Hamburger, hot
Wasn't
dog.
the story
ice cream.
behind the ice cream cone was like they ran out of like bowls or plates or something, and
He ran out of bowls, and there's a guy like next to him doing waffles.
Yeah.
So they just curled up. There you go.
Yeah.
Genius. I mean, that's a great moment in history right there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an excellent combination.
So a true ice cream cone is in a waffle cone.
Yeah.
You guys ever wonder
Yeah.
why they
Well,
got
that's
rid
the
of
way to do
Mm-hmm.
the World's Fair? You never hear about a World's Fair, and I know they only happen every 100 years or something, but
Oh, like why they don't do
Yeah,
a World's Fair?
I
No,
know.
it's not every 100 years.
It can't be
It's-
because they had several. And
I think it's like every decade. They
maybe
were
it is
doing-
every 10 years.
They still have them to some extent, but America doesn't participate anymore.
damn,
Really?
Yeah.
does that have anything to
Really?
do with the metric system? You know, they still have that.
China.
So the big Ferris wheel in Six Flags St. Louis wasn't that
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
the
That was
1904
yeah.
World's Fair? The Colossus is what they
Yeah.
call it now. I don't know if that's what they called it back
Okay,
then.
so maybe
but-
I thought it was like a long time. It's not. It's more. I thought it was more than 10 years.
I mean, even so, it's not 100 years. I know
Yes.
that
No.
it
Because
can't be.
I know there was like one in the 60s, and that when, during the space race. And that,
Okay.
So
But why? Okay, it's got to be like a strange number because why would there be a 1904? Why wouldn't you pick 1900
right.
and then go like every 10 years, every 20, whatever it is, and make it like a nice rounded, even number? You know what I'm saying? I don't
Right.
know. I mean, we could dissect that all day.
Maybe they had to push
I'm
it
just
back.
curious.
That's
for
interesting
another-
you brought up the World's Fair, though, because that did introduce a lot of stuff you could claim is like St. Louis unique and St. Louis born. At least it was introduced here for the first time.
Right.
Right.
I mean, shout
Yeah,
out to
that's
the
true.
water system you got in St. Louis. It's, one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
The water here is like excellent.
That,
Right.
okay, that is true.
Mm.
That is true. I've traveled.
Really
I've
good.
gone to other cities, and yeah, it tastes like
Even just
shit,
outside
dude.
of the St.
Go to,
Louis
like,
area.
There's certain cities you go to and you just smell the stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
It's
oh, no way, dude.
Well, see, I live down in Jefferson County, and it's terrible water.
oh,
yeah.
really?
So it's
Oh,
like
no.
specific to the city.
St. Louis City. Imagine growing up in St. Louis City, being used to that's your drinking water, and it's like, dude, this is fine. Like, why? I always
Drinking it
wondered.
out the faucet.
I
out
always
the hoses.
wondered as a kid why so many people bought bottled water.
Right.
Like why you always see that, and like and it was like never really around where I lived. And I was just like, why is? And then once you, like you said, you venture out, then you're like, oh, because the water tastes like shit everywhere else.
Right.
Honestly, and I didn't know that for the longest time. I was a full grown adult, and I was like, I didn't know St. Louis was kind of known for that. Like,
Yeah,
high
I
quality
did know that.
We used to
drinking
hit
water.
Philadelphia and we'd like bottle water up, and we're like, we're going
Yeah.
to Philly, have it ready, because you didn't want to hit that tap water if you didn't want to buy it. I
Can
mean, there's just
imagine.
certain spots that just don't have the same quality.
Yeah.
Like St. Louis spent all that money and all that energy to get it right during the World's Fair, and it's like they never really got off of that. It seems like they're really good at it, and so even the tap water in the county is like pretty good. I'm South County there.
Yeah, I was gonna
The
say
tap
county
water's
water.
Not
good.
terrible at all.
And the other thing about it too is like, I'd actually test the stuff. I drop these little droplets in the water to check the pH and stuff of it. It's really good quality stuff. Like even if you compare it, some soda like waters that you get from like a regular bottle of water isn't like as good as far as pH goes as the tap water in St.
Which
Louis.
is probably
Right.
why some brands. I think. Okay, let me ask you that. Is that
like
another?
Aquafina.
Yeah, is that another St. Louis thing where like I've noticed a lot of times like around here and not so much anywhere else, like we're very picky about bottled water
Mm.
because certain brands like taste really off to us.
I'll drink any
Oh
water.
yeah,
I don't.
absolutely.
I mean, I will too,
Yeah.
but you can taste the difference. I mean, anybody really
Yeah,
can
yeah.
taste the difference in bottled waters, but I've noticed around here people are very particular about their bottled water.
I bet they're
Yeah.
used to just that quality tap water stuff.
That's what
and
I
everything
mean.
by
So
comparison.
That's,
yeah,
that's
I
probably
hear ya.
that
That's
probably has a
it.
big part to do
Mm.
with it. Let me ask you something else.
Yeah.
I know every city kind of has like a sense of community, but like there's so much passion behind like St. Louis, and like everything that we're so proud of our city, and sometimes it's a fucking shithole.
Mm.
It really is. There's certain, but at the same time, we're like, yeah, but that's ours.
I think what's cool about it is like we got the
Mm.
big city
yeah,
feel.
Yeah.
We got a big enough city that there's always something to do.
yeah,
There's a nightlife, whatever.
Yeah.
Like downtown and that. and then we got all the suburbs around us, but then we still got that small town feel.
Because we're not Chicago, we're not New York, we're not LA.
You go 20 minutes in either direction of the city, and you're in farmland. You're in the boonies. You're either down south in the woods, or you're out west or northeast in farmland.
So I mean, I guess what my question is, have you noticed that that's more present here than other places?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. St. Louis folks do not, just generally speaking, have a lot of pride in St. Louis. They see it differently than the rest of the world that see it. Like, I mean, for example, I had no idea what I was getting into moving out here from the East Coast. We heard Missouri, and this whole thing was like a giant cornfield, in our head of like, what is even there to fly out to find the city? And then the second thing at the time, and still I guess kind of currently, is the idea of like the crime rate and the murder rate in the city is like
we do top those lists.
High.
It's unfortunate.
So
I'd like
coming
to touch
in,
base
I'm
on
like,
that in a second.
coming in, I'm like, oh shit, I better get out of my car and run into this building. But the locals don't see it that way.
Yeah.
The locals are walking around with impunity because, they know these streets.
Well,
they know this place.
We know
this is
too,
home.
like.
And
pretty
so
much,
that perception of it's so different. It rubs off over time too. Like I've become comfortable living here to the point where I'm like, I know what the news and shit says, but I know what the city's like actually like, and
you just know.
You kind of know like how to
after
navigate
dark,
that.
After dark, the city can be a different place.
Yeah.
So you just have, as long as you're aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of pride there. People that seem to rep it and live here, like they really like it for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things to like.
I think our sports teams help with that too.
Some of the awesome attractions in St. Louis. I mean, the park system, for example, here is just amazing over the top. And it's free for the most part. I mean, you're going to pay $25 to get into a Forest Grove-like experience out in Rhode Island. That just doesn't happen. You don't just roll up in these nice manicured parks for free. Fuck that shit. You're going to pay the piper.
Our zoo is the only
St.
free
Louis,
one.
Nope, free.
Yeah.
Just to get into the parks. We're not even considered. We're not even talking like the zoos or even like the museums or anything either.
Forest Park is a gem. Like that place is just amazing. It's like a national. It's so good.
You know what?
And
occurred to me
that's just like one thing.
Recently is Forest Park is bigger than Central Park. I always thought Central Park in New York was like the biggest city, but it's actually kind of small.
No, you can get lost in Forest Park. Even driving, you can get lost in fucking Forest Park, dude. Like I get turned around pretty easily, and I'm from here, and I grew up going to Forest Park, and like even now, I make one wrong turn, and I'm like, I'm at the Jewel Box, man. How the fuck did this happen? Like, I was trying to get to the zoo,
right?
And well, the zoo's actually pretty obtainable because it's right there on the end, right at 60 fire.
You miss the wrong turn, you're in like a golf course somewhere. You're like, how the heck did I get up here?
What the fuck is the
Washu looming over?
I'm at the park facility lot. What happened?
I didn't even know that existed. How do I get to the boathouse?
I mean, Central Park is pretty tight for New York City, just because it's like New York is so developed. Like, I've gone there. Yeah.
It's kind of.
But then you walk in and there's like a forest for maybe a couple of blocks, just plop down. It's really cool, but this place is nowhere near as large as Forest Park.
Yeah.
Well, and Greg, you were kind of talking about like our sports teams, and like we were talking about that sense of community, and I was thinking about that too because baseball season started, and you've got Cardinals baseball, which I'm not a huge baseball guy in general. But I do like it. I'm not even really a huge Cardinals fan, but there is that kind of sense of, again, I've traveled to other cities and I've been to like their local stores, and here it's just different. You can walk into, let's say, a Schnucks, which is one of our locally owned and operated grocery stores.
Mm-hmm. I think they're the ones that created the pork steak.
Yeah, and one of the butchers there.
Yeah,
one of the butchers that work there?
I don't want to say that.
Like, you could go in there, all the employees are wearing Cardinals gear. Yeah. They're wearing their employee shirts that they make for them have like Cardinals on them, and like you've got these displays with all these promos for like our local sports teams and stuff, and it's like I just don't see that. I've been to Florida, I've been up near Chicago. I've been out to Colorado. I've been to all these places where it's like
You pretty much have to go into a sports specific store,
because you could even go into like their like local like stores, and if it's not about sports, and they just don't even mention it, it's like not even a thing for them. Whereas here, we're just so proud of our like man, like it's, I don't know. It's kind of neat. But Rob, you were talking about the You wanted to touch on the crime.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I think.
Let's lighten this up.
Yeah,
Balance it out. Yeah.
All this
add some energy to the conversation.
Let's.
Yeah.
This has been so dull. Let's talk about.
Well, so I did some stuff. I did some research, and when we were kind of wanting to do like that virtually home thing, that went with the virtual reality, like real estate.
Yep.
Company.
Yeah.
So I did some research, and because of that, I kind of found out some interesting facts about St. Louis. If you take the city of St. Louis and St. Louis County are two different government entities. They do not coexist as one.
Right.
Or they do and they don't. There's a co-op kind of thing going on, right?
And when you hear like St. Louis stats, most part they're talking, unless it says metro area included, like they're only talking about the city.
Correct.
Yeah.
So to put that in perspective, that's about 300,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
In the city.
Just
the city.
Just the city alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
St. Louis has a population of probably anywhere between 900,000 and 1.2 million people.
Yeah.
Putting it at the 9th or 10th largest city in America.
Yeah.
Okay. But because the government and all that, the way it works, so it's kind of like a hidden, it's St. Louis is a large or small city wanting to be big in the sense that the vast majority of the residents live in St. Louis County. So when we're talking about crime, we're talking about a quarter of the
right.
And
again, that's what I was saying with the stats. When you hear those kind of
really
stats, it's really only the city.
Correct. Yeah. You don't really see that shit out. I mean, you do, but
we got our crimes out in the county, but
St. Louis gets a bad rap on that.
St. Louis County is suburbia, suburban America.
Yeah. But again, it's such a big part. Like kind of Nate was saying, and even I kind of compared it to like the different boroughs of NYC, where it's like we consider all of this to be St. Louis.
Right.
It's there's a lot more to it, I think, than people realize.
There's some cultural stuff going on with. I mean, everybody's different, but just broadly speaking, city folk kind of sometimes identify with their city pride, and they're not necessarily county folk, and then county folk identify with county pride, they're not necessarily city folk. I go both, to the city and work down there and in the county, so for me it's kind of just all like two branches of one unit. But looking back, as Rob mentioned, the county split and the city are split as two different they're different counties, essentially. St. Louis City is its own county, and then St. Louis County is its own county, and they've been split for quite a while now. But
ever since, God, it's longer than I think we've been alive, if not from the because St. Louis, like the St. Louis the St. Louis Police Department is run out of Jefferson City. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why?
That's true. That's where the police, that's where the academy is. It's right?
The St. Louis City Police Academy? No, I think that's downtown.
Oh, Jefferson City. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
That's our capital, right?
That's our capital. Yeah.
But it's the House of Reps are down there, police down there. A lot of official stuff's down there. But why is it down there?
It's just weird. And the other city that has an issue just like St. Louis? Baltimore.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when all that shit was going down with all the racial injustice and everything and all, and Baltimore was one of them, and they started looking at comparison and everything like that. And because Baltimore City or the city proper is different from
right.
And so you have this, and what's really frustrating about it, people in the county will never vote to merge the two sides.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Right, and it's really unfortunate because these people are the same people that bitch and complain and are afraid to go downtown to visit Cardinals games and hockey games and events and everything like that. And it's like, well, if you guys if we could just merge these two governments and get funding for the entire city and apply it where it's needed. And I'm not trying to say take money out of St. Louis County residents' pockets or anything like that. But if you live in the county of St. Louis and you're attending events in the city, there should be some, I don't want to say accountability there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's groups that agree with this stance you have. I forget what the name of the group is, but their goal is to recharge or try to annex the city and the county together again and bring it together. Their stuff kind of drops off in 2019 on the web, but I was digging through some of this earlier. I'm sure they're still around. There's a group that wants to continue to entertain the idea of bringing them back together and merging them. But you do get into a lot of, like, budgetary issues with that there, because, like, the county themselves, if you just look at them on paper right now, they're running a deficit. Like, the books aren't balancing in the county. The books aren't balancing in the city. Going to merge these things together, all of a sudden it's like, well, you know, like, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I think ultimately if you did merge the two together, if you could figure out the logistics of that, you could benefit.
What
Especially
I guess what I mean by being merged is like just being operated by a central leadership.
The thing about it too is that the county is currently split into so many municipalities.
Yeah.
So the issue with the county right now, from a county perspective, is that there's so many tiny governments going on that there's like rampant inefficiency with all these systems to get things done.
Makes
And
sense.
you do have certain things like the sewer district, the school district, and then you've got Ameren and stuff that operate kind of cross districts. And those work pretty well. Fire districts work cross-district. But they have this fragmentation going on in the county. So, like, on one hand, it would be interesting to merge a city in, but you've still got all these other county issues going on. So the county is, on one hand, they want to merge a city perhaps, and on the other hand, they're trying to merge municipalities together to consolidate some of that stuff. So, good, bad, right, or wrong, I'm just kind of painting a picture of what I'm seeing in this, this landscape. Because St. Louis County is very unique, and it's like, I guess a word for it could be architecture, the way this is laid out. Not many counties, certainly not in Missouri and mostly not in the United States, have this many municipalities and unincorporated areas. Like, Oakville's not even a municipality. Lee May is not a municipality. Melville's not a municipality. These are unincorporated areas. Just that concept alone is kind of unique. That's like a census-designated district. But they still have, like, their own community there, and this is back to, like, the St. Louis people have, like, a certain sense of, like, pride in their districts, and they absolutely do. And so the county is looking at it like, well, how do we wrangle all these districts?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's like a short answer to it, but I do know that the more they look at this thing, they're like, how can we maybe annex a few things together to start to pull stuff into like a more unified like structure?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
So-
unique.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
It's going to be like a red tape nightmare to make that happen. You'd have to be like Picard levels of diplomacy to pull these different units together.
Yeah.
Like,
solid reference.
You want to go over some famous St. Louisans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny that you were that you said that, because I was just about to ask if you guys ever run into John Goodman anywhere. He comes back. He'll visit every once in a while.
I have not.
Apparently, he'd
haven't
come
seen
through
him.
the McDonald's every once in a while that I worked at in Oakville.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
He'd come through the drive.
Well, his mom lived
his mom
over there in
lived.
Oakville, but I think she's passed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I remember word was getting out that they were moving out of there, and it was up for sale.
Wow.
Years-
John
but
Goodman
yeah,
in Oakville.
He'll just pop up at
His,
Ted
mo-
Drew's
he-
sometimes.
his mom
and-
lived off of
Christopher.
Christopher.
There's one of those big houses back there, I think.
So
Yeah,
who
it's
I
like kind of down in
who
the
I
woods.
think I have seen in Oakville is
By the White House Retreat.
oh, no kidding.
It was like right across the street, catty cornered
Huh.
from that.
Have to look for that next time. From The Office.
Half the crew or half the cast. of
Jenna
The Office.
Fisher? Is it Jenna Fisher? Or Phyllis?
Phyllis.
Phyllis.
I
Yeah.
saw Phyllis at South County Mall
Yeah.
getting out of
Oh,
her
yeah.
car.
Yeah.
And my wife was sitting there. I'm like, but, honey, that's Phyllis.
Yeah.
Phyllis is getting out of her car. And, man, it looked just like Phyllis. I swear
Yeah.
it's Phyllis. And then I find out she's from comes
She is.
around here. And
Yeah.
She's cool.
saw Phyllis.
Who's the... Jenna Fisher's not... Is she from St. Louis or like just Missouri?
I thought she was from St. Louis.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
And then the other one, she was Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. She was also in The Office. The redhead.
I know what you're talking about.
Ellie something.
She's from St. Louis, too?
I think she's originally from Kansas City, Missouri, but she moved here at a young age and like grew up here.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And oddly enough, I had heard somewhere that John Hamm was her acting coach.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were on that show, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, together.
Oh,
So
they
that
were
was kind of fun.
They were so funny in that show.
Yeah. So and John Hamm, dude.
He's great.
Oh, I love John Hamm.
Yeah.
I think John Goodman is still like kind of our shining star.
Yeah.
Him or Red Fox.
Oh, Cedric the
Ham's
Entertainer,
pretty
isn't he
good.
from St.
Cedric,
Louis?
yeah.
Or Nelly?
Shout out to
Cedric
Nelly.
Entertainer
Yes.
and Nelly. absolutely.
sure.
And then on the
Yeah.
map right there. George Norrie. Shout out to George Norrie.
Yeah, yeah.
Greg
no,
Braden.
I don't think was Vincent Price from St. Louis, or did he just live here?
Ooh, that's a good question.
He had a house down. I think it was
Yeah.
over by like Wash U,
Yeah.
that area, kind of. But I know Vincent Price was, at the very least, he lived here for a good portion of his life. It's so interesting, like we talked about, like it's like it's the biggest little city.
That's what I'm saying.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I went to DC, and then DC was cool,
Yeah,
but man, after a while, I was like, yeah, I'm good.
See-
I haven't even made it to New York yet.
that's that STL pride, man.
Chicago,
New York's
Chicago was cool,
intense.
Yeah.
but
Nothing like home, though.
it's not,
Chicago's
man.
intense too.
We're home to some accomplished athletes as well. Jason Tatum is one of the big ones that comes to mind right now. Boston Celtics.
Oh, Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith, of course.
Who was-
It's funny because Amy will make fun of me because I'm like, we're like, I'll be watching. I'm a big Celtics fan, and I'm like, when I first told her, I was like, see that guy right there? He's from St. Louis, and she's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I'm like, I do. I think it's cool to see people who are from your hometown
Right.
succeed in such a grand way, because it just kind of reminds you that, like, those dreams are obtainable.
Mm.
I went to high school with Pat Maroon.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's
Yeah.
another star athlete.
Yeah.
Like he's won what 2, 3 NHL
3
championships.
Stanley Cups now, I think.
Hmm.
One with, and imagine coming home, playing for your home team,
and winning it.
and winning the
Yeah.
cup.
It's gotta be
Like,
sweet.
dude, that, like, he feels so accomplished. That's got to be your greatest accomplishment.
That was like
It's gotta
David
be.
Freeze.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Same
St.
thing.
Louis, and
Absolutely.
he went on to win a World Series with the
Shit.
Cardinals.
If I brought a Stanley Cup home to Rhode Island, yeah, my family would carry me in like a parade.
Yeah, yeah.
They'd
Then
be
you'd
so
have
proud.
a statue of yourself out in front of the high school.
Yeah,
Right, right.
absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. In fact, it was a very, very difficult moment for me when St. Louis and Boston got into the finals
I
there.
bet it was.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I got family that probably still won't speak to me.
Fuck the Bruins.
That's
who we
pretty much
missing?
what it was like. It was
Yeah.
like, I got to pick one.
Well,
I
know,
picked
we're
St.
missing a
Louis. I
bunch of
sided
people
with
I know
St.
we
Louis.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many. So many. We could just keep going.
And
Chuck
then-
Berry.
Yeah.
Chuck
Is
Berry.
he from here again? I don't know
Yeah.
if he was from here
Yeah,
or if
I
he
think
just
he
lived.
was.
Yeah. Now there is a statue of him.
Yeah.
Out in front of Blueberry Hill.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
On the loop.
yeah, the Delmar Loop. God, dude, we could just keep going and going and going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is certain. One thing is living in Missouri is something I've noticed a little different than living out in like the East. And I don't know if it's just St. Louis or maybe it's the state. There's a certain sense of like, if you F up, it's kind of on you more than it is in most places. Let me give you an example. Grant's Farm.
Yeah.
You can walk right up. The animals are right there.
Yeah.
You want to pet this goat or feed this goat? You can do that. You can reach right over the fence and feed them. But that goat bites you, that's your bad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nobody else's bad.
Yeah, you chose to reach out and touch that goat.
Let's go to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Fast forward over there. There's that goat you want to feed. There's like 20 feet of fucking shit in front, so you can't even get near that goat because
Yeah.
that goat could bite you or something. So Missouri like lets you play on hard mode, like the kind of like city museum.
Yeah.
All right, you could body yourself by climbing on the wrong thing out here, but that's on you if you do.
Yeah.
But you have the option to try it if you want.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's how I like living life.
Well, we grew up, jumping BMXs off of
Yeah.
sketchy ramps and
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, over the years, it's getting
running through
built
the
up.
woods.
Yeah, and getting developed, but I think like even just back then, 30 years ago, it's like, and everything before that, it's like there wasn't shit to do here, so we had to push those limits.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't have a whole lot going on, so it was like, fuck it, touch the goat.
I
Do
mean,
it.
Yeah.
It bit you? Who cares? What did you touch it? Was it your fault? Yeah. Now you got a story to tell.
Yeah. And life goes on. You didn't die. That goat didn't take you down.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you're okay, bro. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. A little danger ain't bad.
It's like if you want to go to Grant's Farm and get
Yeah.
shit-faced drunk off the free beer
Yeah.
and fuck around with a goat, and that goat then like rams its horn up your ass,
Damn.
that is your fault.
Damn.
Yeah.
And not to mention that beer is going to be free. Another great thing about St. Louis is Grant's Farm and the free drinks they give out. I got 2 free 7% cut waters from them just yesterday, and like a free tram tour. I could see all these animals free.
Again, I think a lot of that ties into that STL pride. We're a beer town. There's a lot of beer towns out there. Shout out to Milwaukee and out in Golden, Colorado, and places with these big like breweries. And we have Anheuser-Busch here, but we're so goddamn proud of it. We're like, dude, have some. You want me to buy it? No, I want you to taste it. I want to watch your face when you put it in your mouth. That's what I want. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you're paying me for it. I want you to enjoy it. You're not from here? Try that Budweiser.
Yeah. So, well, guys, it has been an amazing 3rd episode for us. Getting to talk about the hometown.
Yeah,
that was
fun.
fast.
Yeah. It does go by quick. Yeah. So
we just scratched the surface.
Oh yeah,
there's so much more.
I feel like every time we talk about anything, we're like, yeah, man, we could just keep
like
going.
undercover badasses at like the food scene.
Yeah.
The music
Agreed.
scene.
Yeah.
We got some up and coming actors that are like
And I think what's cool about us being in the center of the country
too. Ton of tech.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that's changing with St. Louis right now.
We didn't even touch that, but
yeah, all
Maybe
the companies that are
with the Cortex District.
Shout out real quick to the NGA moving $1 billion facility to North St. Louis. Shout out to T-Rex for merging with Geospatial. Shout out to the Cortex District. Microsoft's here, AI's here, NVIDIA's here.
Yeah, NVIDIA. Shout out to NVIDIA. Those are some cool people.
Oh, NVIDIA, love NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. So awesome. So there's a lot of technology out here too for next time.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We will see you on the next episode.
Yeah. Tupac lives.